Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of Pod of War. I'm your host, EOF Gizmo, joined us by Massive Das, Chris McGelly,
Hello, everyone.
and Mr. PlayStation Silver Tier, Craig Warren.
Dave, this is so impromptu. I'm wearing a towel. That's where we are right
Just a towel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm
Yeah,
actually wearing one of the two new lead shirts that I just bought, so
Yeah.
got to support
I've
the
literally
boys.
showered, eaten, ran. I was like, yeah, you need to get this shit done. So, yeah, I'm in a towel.
It's one of the very rare occurrences where you two having a shift job actually works in your favour. So it's just a random Thursday you're both off.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, the stars aligned.
Obviously, when we get to the weekend, it all gets back into Dave territory with a 3-day weekend. So, the boys. Anyway, my shift pattern to one side. We had a PlayStation showcase last night, boys, that we all watched live. We didn't live stream because that would have been too much coordination, wouldn't it? But we are going to run through it now. So we're going to do it in a similar vein to other shows in which we all watch, and we're going to give our initial scoring and what we thought in like a little 30-second round table, and then we'll go into the Pengals list one by one, and then we'll come back at the end for a final thought on everything. So, Pengy, you're used to be Mr. PlayStation. What is your out of 5 score and sort of initial response to that PlayStation showcase?
Out of 5, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't great. I think the problem is that's a PlayStation Showcase. It's the first one in 2 years. Like, if this was a state of play, it would have been like, oh yeah, that's really good for a state of play. But with the branding of a showcase, there wasn't really much here to warrant that, I don't think.
Nice. Craigo, how about you?
I think I'll be like a 2.5 out of 5. I went into it. I know I was like memeing when we were doing the predictions, but that's because I worked a lot of the weekend and just couldn't really be asked. I'll be honest. But I did go into this thinking like, this is going to be the big show. We've been talking about this for ages. This is going to be the one. And I was like, could this be the Switch getting sold and the PlayStation 5 being bought? And yeah, that couldn't have been further from what happened, could it? It really, it was quite disappointing, I thought.
Wow, it's mad that you were considering it, to be honest.
Well, I was trying to give it a chance. I was trying to build it up in my head that this could be the moment. Do you know what I mean?
But, yeah, I just don't think that moment's ever going to come, Craig. If I'm honest.
No, I mean I don't. But I was trying to be open. I was trying to be positive.
Well, on the other end of that scale, you've gone for a 2.5. I'm giving this a very generous 1.5. Arguably, I could have given it a 1 because they really didn't show. I've rewatched it this morning, and I'm like, actually, really didn't show anything other than games coming out very soon or a game we knew was coming, and even then that wasn't dated. Like, I'm trying to step back from try and be objective about it, and if this show was just by anyone and it was named in this way, like, how would it be reacted to? And it's like, well, if this was a Nintendo show, if this was a PlayStation show, if this was an Xbox show, if this was an Ubisoft show, but they really didn't show anything. So
I would be shocked as well if there was more than 10 minutes worth of gameplay in this whole show.
I mean, if you take Spider-Man out,
yeah,
I don't think there's a whole lot. But yeah, well, obviously we're going to go game by game now, and we'll talk about it. But I
was going to say, you got the Summer Game Fest soon, which is a mixture of everyone, Keighley's thing. So it's not just Xbox, it's not just play. I wouldn't be surprised if that looks pretty much the same as this, because it's pretty much all third party and indie. So Keighley could have basically exactly the same, apart from missing Spider-Man, and have Death Stranding instead of Spider-Man. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly the same as this.
Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously get to those shows when we get closer to the time. But so, Peng, have you got your list? Are you ready to quick fire through this?
Yep. So I haven't got it in correct order, but I know what opened it up, and it was Jade Raymond's studio, Haven's Fair Games, with $1 for the S on the end.
and they showed a flashy CG trailer. And did they give a date of any kind, or was it just
There's nothing, I believe,
Okay.
for this, and this is a competitive heist experience for PS5 and PC.
so you?
This had to open as well. Had
Yeah.
the most embarrassing thing of opening with the little thing before in black, like not actual gameplay, all cinematic, or something like that.
Well, it set a
So when you're
tone, didn't it?
opening the
Really,
show
I
with
think.
that, like you're like, oh god,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a really strange opener because as we're about to say, and there was no content. There was what could have been a conceptual trailer, CG
It could have been
trailer.
like an anime or something. Like literally.
It was conceptual. There was no gameplay in any way. There was no timeline, other than the fact that it's PC, and even that information Peng said that's come from the blog. That was not in that trailer, and that was not. We could ascertain that it was multiplayer, but like I thought it could have been Watch Dogs. It could have been anything, right? But so there was no information. That's how they open the show. We know the studio name because obviously we're like insiders at this point. But yeah, so that was that. Next game, Pengy.
Right, so then I'm going out of order. Apart from I'll leave the one from last. So on this list, the next one I've got is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
You really have gone in a random order there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta remake again. They showed a CG trailer. Platform.
Yeah.
We don't know who's making it.
Nope. It's development team.
Yeah.
It's that's the joke. It's development teams. There's no development team attached to it. There's no date.
Yep.
And they showed no gameplay.
Obviously, I couldn't care less about this because Metal Gear Solid sucks. But like, it's so weird that I think they then tweeted out actual images
Screenshots,
of.
yeah,
And it's like,
64
why didn't you
did.
show that? Like,
Well, it's like one of those things like you don't care, but like they didn't try and make you care by showing
No.
gameplay that would have been cool.
no.
But like, you had the song, okay, that's great, but then that was that, and then obviously that was followed up by the announcement of Metal Gear Master Collection Volume 1, which again, they're games that are known. There was no information, because even if they go on the website and all it says is Master Collection Edition, it doesn't say if it's Substance, it doesn't say what version of those games they are. So you don't even know if it's good versions of the game, because
I'm hoping they get this, because Konami have done like the Castlevania collections and stuff, and they've been pretty decent. So I hope it is thing. Except they're coming this year, and they're coming to modern systems, whatever that means for the Master Collection. So is the Switch a modern switching?
Well, you would hope it would run on everything, wouldn't it? So like it should run on everything, and obviously, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater is coming to Xbox and PC. So. Okay, so that's that's 3 announcements we've mentioned already. No gameplay, no real information. So next one, Pengy.
Next one. So Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage, got dated for the 12th of October, I believe it is. Yes.
So yeah, like they showed again. I don't really think it was gameplay. I think it was more CG again. Obviously we've known about this game for a while. It was good to finally get a date. I'm personally quite looking forward to it. But again, it's multi-platform. Again, there was no actual.
It's
gameplay.
even on Luna.
It's even on Luna. It's on Ubisoft Plus, right? So Luna just runs the PC versions. So it's on that. That's cool. But again, even for Ubisoft, there's no pre-order bonus for it for a change. So there's no gold edition or anything like that. So it was just like, here's the game. That's when it's coming out. There's nothing to say, is there? It's one of those. It's a weird one. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the game, but that's off.
Yeah,
the idea of it as opposed to actual gameplay.
On like list that I was looking forward to until I literally watched the video last night, and I think that obviously is on Ubisoft Plus, which is on Xbox, and it's 15 quid a month for Ubisoft Plus. So it's like, well, it looks fairly decent. Assassin's Creed Mirage for 15 quid. I'll take a punt. If I don't like that, I guess play some Crew 2 or something that month or whatever. It's not a huge loss.
No, there's enough. There's enough games.
It's an interesting one as well, because I feel like this is like everyone's like, I want old-fashioned Assassin's Creed, and you're like, oof, do you really? Do you? So I'm so intrigued to see how this does, because I'm like, oh, I don't know if you do, but we'll see.
It's strange because it's cheaper as well, and it's going to carry the Assassin's Creed name. It's obviously going to be physical and stuff. Like I think people will see it, and they haven't seen the new Assassin's Creed in 2 years, and go, well, I'll buy that. Like the average person just won't know. So I'm curious if people like you said, like people love the old games, but the new games are quite popular as well. So I'm just curious what you think. I personally am looking forward to it. So, but that's probably the no gameplay. I didn't show me anything. So what's next, Bengi?
Next is coming. Will be actually out 5 days after Assassin's Creed Mirage. That's Alan Wake 2.
This had a
I
snippet
thought-
of gameplay in it, so I'm going to allow.
Yeah, this looked really good. I'm really excited about this until that fucking blog post or whatever it was, that Twitter post that it's digital only, and it's like, is it like £50
Yeah,
or
it's
$50 on
it's-
PC
It's £50.
and
It's-
60?
It's got a cheaper price because it is digital only, so it's not 70, it's 50
So
because it's
I'll
digital
check
only.
right now because I believe.
But
they
isn't
said
it more
it's up to
expensive on
pre-order.
consoles?
Yeah, it's £10 more on console than PC,
Like, what is that bullshit? Like,
and it's only on the Epic store because Epic are funding the game, which
I
kind of
couldn't care
makes
less
sense.
about that. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's a very, very odd strategy for them to go for there. But I am excited. I think the game looks great.
And there has
So I'm
been
excited about
2
that.
story DLC expansions already announced as well.
Yeah, so Alan Wake 2 is on the store with screenshots, a pre-order bonus, and a video, but you can't currently pre-order it. But it is being published by Epic.
Mhm.
The first game's currently on sale, the remaster for a tenner. So, but again,
Bargain.
that's probably the best looking game that we've seen of the ones we've talked about so far. Again, it's tainted by a silly decision, but they
Yeah.
didn't communicate that in the video as well. And again, it's coming to Xbox, it's coming to PC, it's coming to PS5. It's not exclusive in any way as well. So it's like, okay, right.
Yeah, it's weird. It's the PC people that seem to be kicking off the most because it's only on the Epic launcher.
Yeah,
not
well,
that.
they hate the Epic launcher, but it's
Yeah.
published by Epic, so I get it.
But
But
you can't play it on your Steam Deck officially.
officially, yeah, unofficially,
Yeah.
no problem. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't play anyway. But yeah, for like people like you guys that like horror games, it looks really good. That's
Yeah.
what I'll say so far.
Then we got another trailer for Final Fantasy 16, which is literally out in a month, less than a month.
That's the month, couple of
I
weeks.
thought this was the worst trailer they've shown so far for this game.
I kind of agree with you.
I thought the weird, instead of having like a monologue of like someone talking over it and that was really well written, it was just loads of really badly written, like
it's a very Final Fantasy
cheesy-
trailer because they do that all the
exactly
time.
with lines, and you're like, oh, I don't know. I still think the game is going to be like really good, and people are going to love it. It's going to be really, really well. It's going to get me loads of points from fantasy. But this is such a weird trailer. I mean, it's very odd.
Yeah.
The most annoying thing is they haven't dropped the demo.
Lit-
They've announced that demo's coming. They
yeah.
haven't. Where is it to?
Does
It's gotta
worry
be
me a
soon,
little
right? 'Cause
bit.
it's not that far out, surely.
No, it's like 2
About the
weeks.
22nd.
It does worry me because
Yeah.
usually they're very early and very consistent with their demo drops. So the fact that they're not for their biggest game worries me a little bit.
The only
I
thing
think
I
it's
can think there is a Final
performance-wise.
Fantasy 16 celebration on June 11th,
Okay.
which
Does the game
is
come out
obviously-
16th?
No, 22nd.
Okay, 10
So
days
it's
is
11
fair.
days before,
Yeah.
so they maybe drop it then, but it seems kind of late to drop the demo. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fine. I agree with Craig. I think the trailer was proper Square Enix cheese. Not the worst trailer they do in this show. And we'll get to that, but yeah, it was okay. Like I'm no more or less excited for that game. So it's cool, and it's obviously a PS5 exclusive. So PS5 and PC eventually. It's good. It did its job, I think. I love that the character's called Clive, which is really funny. Them all shouting Clive when he's like this like hot Japanese boy. But the anime, right? But yeah, Final Fantasy.
But keeping on the fantasy route, we got a trailer for Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, a little bit surprising. I think we all thought it was Monster Hunter to begin with. I think
Yeah,
most
and I
people
was like,
do.
oh yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 was announced, wasn't it? Quite a while ago.
First game's really well loved in a niche kind of way. So I'm curious in a post Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Zelda world, how Dragon's Dogma 2 is received. But it looked fine. The art style's always been a little bit rough, I think, for Dragon's Dogma, so I don't think that helps it. But people that I know that like the first game loved it.
So
Oh yes, I mean it'll run like butter and it'll be all goopy and dark. But yeah, people that I know that played the first one love it. So I haven't, but it's a good announcement. Did they date that, Pengu? Or was it just a vague?
no, nothing. But this is the first trailer we've had of it. The other trailer was like, I don't know, a couple of years ago now. It was like, yeah, we're making Dragon's Dogma 2. And so yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think maybe
Capcom
next
are
year.
on fire out there at the moment, so hopefully it's good. Hopefully, it's not Soulsy at all. That's my one hope. Is
I
there's
mean,
just
the
no
first
fucking
one,
Soulsy shit.
the first one was kind of
apart from that.
pre-Soulsy, but it's
Mhm.
like in a post-Soulsy world, they're going to seem similar because it's a third-person fantasy action game where you fight shit. So I think it's going to feel, but it's not got the weird like you die and then the enemy is super hard. Like it's way more RPG.
Yeah,
The
hopefully
first
it's
one.
more like Witcher 3 to
Yeah,
like
kind of.
Souls
Yeah,
like, if
kind
that
of.
makes sense.
But the
Yeah,
combat
weirdly,
system was way
obviously
better.
this list is called after Final Fantasy. Weirdly, it does like watching the Dogma 2 trailer does look a bit. They're both that sort of high fantasy thing,
Which is
with,
all
you know,
chasing that
action combat.
Soulsborne trend, isn't it? I
Mm.
think. But yeah, I mean the first one played like Monster Hunter. Like you climbed the big monsters. Like it was all one of those, Craig. So yeah, do recommend the first one. It's always on sale for a couple of pounds here and there.
Yeah.
Next one, Mikey.
Then on the list is Bungie announced a new marathon. Even though
This
it
was
looks
so random. Like I had no idea what this was, and then you put in I think is it an extraction PvP game?
yeah,
I'm
it's
just
a
like
PvP
I
focused game.
could not care
Extraction.
less.
Yeah. Will not feature a single player campaign, but they will tell story through the gameplay and I don't know what
This
you're
is very
extracting.
much like you make up your own story sort of thing. Yeah, fuck
Well,
that.
it's just there. It's another nameless, gameplayless trailer that doesn't look anything like the franchise it was based on, from a company that already makes a game that looks similar. So much so that they've followed it with a trailer for that game. That I was like, oh, is this the same? Oh no, it's Destiny. Like it's so similar looking that I'm like, okay, could Marathon just not have been a mode in Destiny at this point? But again, like we don't know anything, so they didn't show us anything, tell us anything. So like, it's coming to Xbox and PC, so it's following their free to play shenanigans, I hope. But yeah, until we see gameplay, it could be exactly the same as the Haven game, or exactly the same as every other.
I've got more hope for this than like Fair Games and the other one, that thing, because it's Bungie, like, and they've obviously have a proven track record of shooters and stuff. Where
Yeah.
Haven are a new studio, and like the last time Jade Raymond actually put a game out was like Assassin's Creed 2 or something. So
I think this will last longer. This won't die as fast as
Yeah.
the other ones, but I still have no hope for it.
No.
Next on the list is we had another look at Street Fighter 6, which is out the 2nd of June. So that's even out sooner than Final Fantasy.
Again, worst trailer I've seen for this game so far.
Yeah, I don't like the create a character story mode thing, because the create a character looks like he was made in 6 bloody polygons, and then everyone else looks really clear and shiny. But other than that, I mean, Street Fighter, right? It'll play like Street Fighter. Even the worst Street Fighters are still good games. So, but yeah, it's out soon. It's nothing new, is it? Really? And it's literally there's a demo out now on all the consoles. It was a demo before this, so
Yeah,
it was there. It's a game.
it was there. It was a game. Then it's Talos Principle 2. Trailer looked quite good for this, but I've not played the first one, and this is coming to you, obviously PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, I believe.
Is
Yes.
it this year as well?
I think they
I
might
think
have
it's
said
this
this
year.
year,
Possibly.
but not
Yeah.
not dated. It was yeared.
Mm.
Talos Principle 1 is supposed to be really good. So, and this looks like more of the same but shinier. So we can again like this. One of the better things shown. It's a little indie game. Like cool. Doesn't do it for me, obviously. I'm not a big indie guy, but yeah. Again, the first game is well received, so you'd have to hope that this is also fairly good.
Yeah. Didn't really do much like for me. It's just because I haven't played the first one. If I played the first one and I liked that, maybe I would have been more excited. So now we go to well, I think it's exclusive to PlayStation, PS4, and PS5. There's no mention of Xbox and PC, so it must be from Square Enix. It's Foam Stars.
Wait, this isn't on Xbox.
No.
Oh, I'm selling it. Right,
Well, this
I
game
go back.
is
I go back.
the
I'm
most
selling it. I'm getting the PlayStation.
most dead on arrival game of all time, if that's true.
Yeah.
Because it was already so
wank.
it's it's a Splatoon clone, which is mad.
It looks like Splatoon, Knockout City, like
with the Persona
just
soundtrack for some
trash.
reason.
Like,
I don't think the Splatoon clone is mad due to how well Splatoon is sold.
It's mad
yeah,
because
but this isn't going to be Splatoon though.
no,
Is it? Let's be
it's
honest.
mad because
This
they're
is-
attempting it because like Nintendo has a style like art and gameplay that fits Splatoon perfectly, but this just looks so generic and random and like just not fun for more than maybe 10 minutes. Like we'll probably do a game and be like, oh, that was fun, and then never play it again, especially if it's PS4 PS5 exclusive. Like it's gonna die. Like it has to be on everything if you're gonna
Or
And
I
it
think
has to be
if
free to play, surely.
it's got to be
Like,
free to play, or it's got to be some sort of like
How long did Babylon's Fall last?
less than a year.
Yeah, I would almost put a bet that that'd be the same for this.
yeah,
The only other thing, like they have some sort of plus thing or something with it. I don't know.
Well, they
Like
did
you-
show gameplay though, so there you go.
Yeah. What
they
we also
probably
again,
shouldn't have done, but
what we also because it looked really bad when we saw the
Really
gameplay of that. What we also saw gameplay of was Plucky Squire.
this
Yeah,
looked great.
probably the best game of the show. I think we may be in agreement.
Yeah. Tinykin Zelda, basically.
Yeah, by the Pokemon art director. So this will be great. It's also coming to Xbox. Don't think
And Switch.
and Switch, which will prevent obviously Steam. Don't think they dated it, did they?
No, it's still just this
No.
year, I think.
So this year, but again, look great. Beautiful art style, beautiful gameplay concept. Like, yeah, can't argue with it. I think it was in the little indie section in the middle, and yeah, I think it was definitely one of the better games shown.
Yeah, it does look pretty good. That.
It'd be interesting how much it's priced because if it's not coming to a subscription, it's really hard because a lot of it, like us three, tend to only play indies if they're on subscriptions. Really, let's be honest. So it's yeah.
If they're clever, it's on PS Plus or Game Pass. If they're not, it's under £20.
Yeah.
We also got, which looks really cool, but we're all going to be absolutely awful at it, and that's Phantom Blade Zero.
Oh yeah, I couldn't care less about this. Like this is just, I hate that we have so many of these fucking Souls-like games is pumping out all the time now, and they always like this trailer will start and you're like, oh, that's all right. I'm kind of there for this, and then as soon as you see the combat, you're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. I think I'm also a little bit tired out after the two Neo games, Wulong, Sekiro. Like I'm like, okay, so it's a sort of gothic-y, Japanesey, like Souls game. And it's like, sure, the combat looked good, but how much of that am I in control, or is that just basically the animation for me blocking? Like it's, it looked okay. Like don't get me wrong, like but it doesn't do anything for me. Like I'm not rushing out to play that game. But they showed some gameplay. So again, we haven't had much. We've been on...
And it's part of the Phantom World series on mobile. I've never heard of. So.
Yeah, and that's not usually a great sign. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But I mean, they've done, like I said, there's been 3 or 4 games like that in the last 2 years. So I'm not that thrilled about it.
And then we got a look at Ghost Runner 2, which has now got motorbikes.
Hell yeah, look good. Everyone likes Ghost Runner 1. It's one of those can't really say much more. It looks like more Ghost Runner, which is cool. If you've played that game, then I'm sure you like it. I have not. I do own it on Steam Deck, I think. So, but I haven't actually played it.
Well, I've never played it either.
No, I haven't. Could be a good fantasy pickup though, because I think the first one was like 83.
Yeah, it was very well liked, the first one.
And then, actually, this was quite early on in the show. It's just this order of the list IGN's got. One I'm pretty excited about, and I can see me and you both playing it, Dave, and that's Helldivers 2.
Yeah, of the exclusive games on this showcase, that is by far the one I'm the most excited to play. I actually thought it was the Starship Troopers game when they first started showing it.
Oh yeah,
which is some Steam is really good, but it turned out it was Helldivers 2, and it's if they've turned it into a third-person game, I think that actually works for the game. Helldivers 1 is so much fun. I actually re-downloaded it after because it was a PS Plus game. I was like, you know what, I'm going to play some more Helldivers 1. Really hard top-down co-op shooter, Craig. If it was on Xbox, we'd love it. Like it would be up there for us because the co-op is so good. But yeah, the last game was great. It does. I think it's going to need a service release date on day one. I think for
Needs
it
to
to
be
do
plus,
anything.
really, surely.
I
That
feel
sort of
like
game.
it will be plus, at least plus extra.
Mm.
But yes, if they do that, then they've got a little hit. I think it'll do well, it'll review well, and it will be a fun time for a couple of weekends for sure.
Okay, I'm going to chuck it in here because Helldivers 1, I didn't play a huge lot of it, but I played a little bit of it on the Vita. So Helldivers 2, how could I possibly play that on a handheld, Dave? That isn't called a Steam
You
Deck.
could use your phone and the backbone and play it via cloud or remote
Yeah.
play, Pingy.
Remote play. Did Sony announce your cloud handheld remote play system,
I
Davey?
don't think they announced cloud, did they? They announced remote play,
Remote play only, yeah.
which is mental.
Mm.
But yes, they did show
It's just
Project
the phone
Q.
now.
It is an 8-inch Sony Xperia screen shoved between a massacred DualSense.
Yeah. It's
Did
got
they
all
announce
the
a
buttons
price or
on.
anything like that?
Nope.
No.
No price, no
Okay.
date. Only thing they announced was it was remote play only, has Wi-Fi 8.2.112 and like stuff like that, right? 60
LCD
frames,
screen. It's got all the
1080p,
DualSense stuff.
but it can't have a touchpad because obviously it's a big screen, so I'm guessing it'd be a touch screen. But they
Yeah,
didn't.
I
Did
was
they?
gonna
I
say-
don't know if they said it was a touchscreen.
No, I don't think they do.
So if they didn't, then that will be the back panel on the back will be
Yeah, I was gonna say they said all the features of on the PS5, and they said about the haptic feedbacks and stuff like that. So yeah, it must have a touchpad somewhere, or the screen itself. So
yeah. Not for me. This is one of those that if you're a hardcore PlayStation guy or gal and you have the use case where you can't be playing it on your TV and or you miss the Wii U, then this could be for you if it's under £200. And
Yeah, I was
that's
about to say this is like a cool concept, but I think the price is going to be the king here. 'cause-
so much so because for example, so Craig doesn't have a PlayStation 5. If Craig was going to buy a PlayStation 5 for what's a PlayStation 5 now, £500?
something like that.
500,
for a
550.
bundle in work, it's like 530, I think.
So
or
530
540.
and then say 200 for this. You're playing 730 for that setup, which is not great, but they've done worse. But like it's such a specific use case that I just don't know why you'd get it, especially because it doesn't have cloud or any capabilities to be as far as we know to use like mobile data. So I'm kind of like, well, you're only going to use it in your own home, and you're only going to use it in your own home if someone's on the TV or you have a particularly large house and you can't have a PlayStation in every room.
I know with the Vita you could use it, but you obviously still had to have like your PlayStation turned on at home and stuff like that.
That's literally what this is the same. It's the same as Vita Remote Play.
Yeah,
in
so you
that
could
sense.
still take it other places and stuff.
Yeah, but you'd
still
have to have a
quite
Wi-Fi
tagging.
connection as
Yeah.
opposed to, so you'd have to hotspot it to your phone if you wanted to take a train, for example. But yeah, it's very cool. Again, we don't know enough to be like properly critical or properly positive about it, but I think it looked a bit silly. But I bet it'll be comfortable, which is usually my issue with those type of devices. But it's tough because I feel like if Xbox did the exact same thing, because of Game Pass, I know it would have cloud, and thus it would be a better product. So like it's one of those where I'm like, okay, but yeah.
Yeah.
Will you be buying one, Pinky?
Very much doubt it unless it's like really, 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 really cheap. I doubt that. Like a DualSense for like 70 on its own or something.
Yep, and the DualSense Edge is 200. So you
So
would
it's gonna
think
be
it would be around that price.
Yeah, because it's just a DualSense with a chopped in half of a screen attached to it. But I don't know how much you'd say there's much
If
screen
it's clever, it's $99.99, but that's what they're also charging for the backbones. So I would suspect
it's going to be more expensive than
I suspect
backbone.
it'll be at least 150, if not 200. Anything more than 200, it's dead. Like no one will buy it.
Yeah, I think it needs to be like 149 or 175 or something like that.
Yeah,
price.
maybe bundle it with something like a game that you can install on your PlayStation 5, but who knows?
Yeah, cool. Right, then we got. There was also the the earbuds as well, accessory wise, which if you are keen about that. back on the games though, Giant Squid revealed Sword of the Sea, which I'm very excited about because it just looks like Journey.
Yeah,
Which also could be a bad thing if it's just Journey
it's,
on a
it's
skateboard.
skateboarding journey. Those games do absolutely nothing for me. I think they're the biggest wastes of time. Other than trophy specific games, I think they're the biggest waste of time in gaming because they're about an hour and a half, and you're like, I learned nothing from this. But
Okay.
yeah, it does nothing for me. It will
Kind of
review
a
well.
cool art style, isn't it?
Yeah,
And,
it's pretty. It will review well because it's that type of game. But yeah, nothing for me.
Yeah, I don't know if it because Pathless reviewed fairly okay. Absu, I don't
But I
think
think
did that
Pathless had
well.
too much video game in it, didn't it? That's why. Because that's usually why they don't review well. Is people like IGN like, oh, it's too much games. Yeah, I thought this was a visual experience, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, and obviously that game company did Journey, even
Mhm.
though this is from like the director of
Yes,
it.
can't
And
know
Austin
that.
Wintory's back to do the music as well, so
Lovely.
all good. Yeah, very excited for that one. It doesn't seem like it's coming to Xbox or Switch or anything, that one. But then Pathless eventually came to Xbox and Switch, didn't it? So who knows? And then we got into a little bit of VR section. So we got the Resident Evil 4 remake VR mode shown, which does look pretty good, but I will not be playing it. So
If Pengel
Sad times.
isn't, there is no hope.
no hope for
That was next on VR than Pengy.
Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2, which will be coming later this year.
You got to squeeze in a Five Nights at Freddy's on every single showcase ever.
Obviously.
So, yeah, I'm sure that won't be the last Five Nights at Freddy's we see this summer.
No.
And I'm sure we won't care less about any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, okay, this list is now going back to Indie and from the VR. We got the new game from the Gris creators, Never, as Andy was calling it, kind of funny. I don't actually know if it's what I actually called. Yes, so it's got similar art style for the Gris as well, and Gris was absolutely fantastic when I played it on Switch. So very excited for this.
It's just the one where it's just showing like a girl hugging like a deer sort of
But
thing. Right?
isn't Gris
Yes.
For like 5 minutes?
Isn't that
and it's
literally what
just-
Gris is? It's just some pretty animation. There's like barely any gameplay.
Oh no, it's fantastic, Dave. It looks absolutely gorgeous on the
I'm
Switch.
sure
See this?
Sure it does.
See
but
this is weirdly a game where the PlayStation Q would like tempt me, but I could just buy this on Switch and play it on the Switch as a handheld, but then there wouldn't be trophies. So,
just indie trash. That's how I look at it. Like very pretty, but
yeah,
just make video games instead, isn't it?
so that's going to be great. Then we got one that you seem to like, Craig, was Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean.
Is this like a series? I've never
Yeah,
even...
This
so
is
good.
the third one.
So
really? I
good.
had
Yeah.
no idea.
They're co-op, Craigo. They're wonderful. They're pretty easy to complete as well. But yeah, they are.
Really? How have I missed this? But yeah, this looked pretty cool. Like they
Yeah.
were slating this on Kind of Funny. I was like, I like that.
Oh, they're
looked
good.
fun.
They review pretty well. I think they're like hilariously cheap all the time. I'll look
I know I'm just a simple Xbox guy, but that looked fun. I don't know. What's wrong with it?
I'm sure one of them might be even in Game Pass. You might have to look at
There
that.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat Quest 2 is $12.99 full priced on Xbox.
Yeah.
Cat Quest 1 I can't find, but yeah, really good games. They're literally like co-op, like dungeon explorer games, kind of Diablo-y. But yeah, it's got on Xbox. It's reviewed at 4.7 by True Achievements.
Oh wow.
So
yeah.
But yeah, Cat
Pretty
Quest,
good.
can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Then we got on this Towers of Agaspara or something,
Nice
which
Tigers.
which is like
Agabash.
the Agabash. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, which looks
Looks
fine
rubbish,
from the
Pengy.
trailer.
It looks rubbish. Don't
Is
be
this
lying.
the
Zelda
This is the-
survival game? They look like that Chia thing.
This is the survival-y game that has the exact same glide as Zelda, and you cut down trees, but it's not quite as pretty as Zelda
It's
or
got more
anyone else.
realistic art style.
Yeah, which looks terrible unless you're a huge studio. Yeah, and
Mm.
I think this looked awful. I thought that the art for the actual name was the best part about the game.
I'd be so intrigued to when this finally comes out if it looks anything like that as well.
Yeah, right.
Right, moving on from that. Another indie that I'm keen on, and that's Revenant Hill from the studio from Nights in the Woods.
So this is weird because this trailer, and then they were reading the blog post on Kind of Funny. There's no like comparison at all. It's so strange. This is when we were playing as like a witch's cat or something.
Yeah, you're playing as the cat, and you're trying to becoming Witcher's familiar.
Yeah, like I did not get anything from the trailer.
No, because
Very
the
odd.
trailer is just the cat like running through the level.
They were
with the
just
stuff
like,
happening in the
"Hey, we
background.
made Night in the Woods," because you can tell from the eyes, and that was it.
Yeah,
The
very
cat looks
strange.
the same. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so excited for that one. So because Nights in the Woods is great.
I
Not
never
for me.
played it.
Yeah, not for me.
Fun. What? Do you not play Nights in the Woods, Craigie?
No, isn't it like
was
Oxenfree but quite long?
Yeah, it is quite long for that sort of.
Yeah,
game.
like
But-
I look at
but-
those sorts of games and I'm like, that needs to like I can get into that sort of thing if it's like 5 hours, but like I don't want to be playing that for like 10, 15 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
that's
think
too
more
much.
so on like the version on Xbox is the complete because it had a DLC and it's like shoved into the middle of the game, like added it in sort of thing. I think on Xbox, if I remember correctly, so this makes it a bit longer as well. Or the complete version of the game,
Yeah.
so it makes
Yeah.
it better. Alright, going off the indies, we've got Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which is finally coming this winter for PS5, PS4, and PC.
Yeah,
I can't remember what this was.
this is generic
the-
anime. One of the about 3 in a row that are generic anime RPGs that look like Tales.
Yeah. I remember.
They look fine, but again, the period of my life in which I play games like this is long past. So, yeah, not really for me.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. This one, it was like announced back in 2016, so it's been like coming for ages, but it's sort of only been in development again since 2019 after Platinum were taken off the project and Side Games moved it in-house. So could be good. Hopefully it is.
We'll find out.
Then we got Ultros, which is the weird, colourful Metroidvania
Really
thing.
ugly game.
Yeah.
It was hard to look at how ugly it was.
Yeah, it's a strange art style.
Very strange.
I thought it looked kind of cool. I just hope it's more like classic Metroidvania. as
Needs to
opposed
be on Game
like
Pass to
Dead
stand a
Cells.
chance. for
Oh
me,
yeah,
I
of course it does. Yeah, there's
Like-
no way you pay money for it.
No.
Definitely not.
Yeah, that's like the one indie that I have like no interest in. Oh, I said that I'm not interested really in Talos Principle and Cat Quest, but you know.
Nice. It's a crime that you're not interested in Cat Quest, by the way. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, okay. So going back to RPGs now, I was wrong with my Honkai Star Rail, but we have got Tower of Fantasy coming this summer to PlayStation instead.
Another anime looking JRPG.
Mm.
Didn't bother me, really. Had some
No,
gameplay.
I-
Is that something?
Can't remember which one this is from. Like you say, the 2 or 3 that they showed.
Yeah, this is the free-to-play one that's on mobile and PC at the.
Oh, you're not selling it to me, Penguin. You're really.
It's basically a Genshin Impact clone.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gone. I'm out.
Yeah, so no. Then some more PSVR stuff. So we had a look at Crossfire Sierra Squad.
Looked
Um,
really generic
Mm.
really generic first person military shooter. It's Crossfire, which does not fill me with any hope or joy.
No, it shouldn't.
So there's that.
no, it's disappointing that we got like a gameplay and stuff of this, and we've not seen Fireball. It's like where's Fireball instead? So that was disappointing.
Indeed.
Arizona Sunshine 2 was announced.
They showed a CG trailer that made it look as much like Dead Island 2 as it could.
Yeah.
Don't think many people liked the first one. I think it
No,
played
it
pretty
wasn't very-
badly. So that was the sort of there was VR games. The only other one
Yeah.
I had was Beat Saber.
No, Beat Saber, which is out now, and
Oh,
there's
and
a
it's
Queen,
Synapse.
and there's Synapse, which we now know Jennifer Hale and David Hayter will be doing voices in that game.
Yeah, it looks
Is
like
that the other first person shooter?
the one that looked like
Yeah.
super hot but not.
Yeah, just quickly. I know we haven't got a huge amount of time, but like, did these VR showings get you excited, Pengy? Are you like excited
Not
about
at
the
all.
VR2 now? No, I
Not
didn't think
at
so.
all. Like Resident Evil 4 and VR mode is a big one and it looks fantastic, but I have no interest in Resident Evil 4 to begin with, let alone in VR. Synapses looks great, but then it looks like it's mostly like a roguelike. You're going into the mind of, I presume, David Hayter's character and doing whatever, and then you're going back again from the trailer and like doing something again in a roguelike fashion. And I don't like roguelikes and stuff like that. So so not good.
Sad times.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the meat and gravy, Pengy.
Right, we also got a quick, and I mean a really quick trailer for Concord, which is Firewalk's game.
I have no idea what this is. Like, weren't they in a plane? Like,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know.
like,
I
hey,
don't know what this was meant to be.
Starfield. I was like, I see.
This is a PvP multiplayer game.
God, I
coming to PS5.
I really worry for like all these games that they're putting out. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that would not fill me with confidence if I was like a Sony guy and hoping for these were going to be good. I don't know.
Everyone at Firewalk, I think it's ex Bungie deaths, and we know Bungie could make good shooters, so I guess be some hope, and I'm more likely to play a competitive shooter than I am to like the Haven's Fair game with a weird, Payday clone or whatever it is. Out of the two sort of like genres of there.
It's just tough, and you got to be better than so many other games, and you got to be free to play, and you've got to keep pumping out content, and people will just eat up content so fast and get bored. Like, yeah, it's such a hard market. I feel.
Yeah,
Especially
and the
when you
thing
don't
is,
show
I
anything.
don't know if I don't know if these are gonna be all free to play or not.
Well, no, we don't know
That's the
anything.
thing.
That's the thing. It's pure speculation because they didn't show us anything.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like,
then the last one on the list, apart from the last one, but they seem to be missing Destiny 2, which got a trailer when Cade's
yeah,
back.
we had a quick chat about that earlier.
Yeah,
if
Destiny.
you care about Destiny, great. You already know. If you don't, then you don't care.
Yes, the last expansion, Final Shard or something like that. Something like that. It's
the last one ever, hopefully. How about that?
Yeah, so and they announced like a showcase or something for that. I think in August.
Yeah,
and stuff
22nd
like
of
that.
August.
Yeah. So the other one on this thing that isn't like the big one is Immortals of Avium was shown again.
God, this is a weird looking game, isn't it?
It looks
This
like
has like there's no like style. It's just like a mishmash of like stuff. It feels like someone's taken like they've had like 5 or 6 ideas and they've all started making these games. They've got, oh, let's just try and like pop that all into one or so. It's very odd. It's like Magic, Doom Eternal clone.
looks like first person Forspoken.
Do you remember you because you're old like me, Dave? Hexen? Was it
Yeah, on
Hexen?
the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, it reminds me of Hexen.
Yeah, it's one of those, right? EA haven't been on too bad a run, but it's just generic enough. I just don't. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me. The writing
It
didn't
doesn't
seem
have the
great.
name is really bad.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean it's
I
already
feel
an
the
Immortals
marketing
Phoenix
is...
Rising game. Like it looks like they said in kind of funny, like the art style of the font looks like Godfall. Like we literally we looked in the store not long ago, and we saw this and we had no idea what it was. Like we were like, what? Like I remember me and Craig looking like, what is this game? And like, oh yeah, it's that game. But it's like, yeah.
And it's
I'll
out really soon. It's
try
out
it
July.
when it comes to Game Pass.
Yeah,
and
the
EA
EA
Play.
trial. Yeah, give it a
Yeah.
chance. Like it looks like it could be fun, but like the
Yeah,
characters didn't seem that interesting. You got the lady from Jedi's in there, and like, okay.
I think even Snowbite Mike was like, yeah, this like the story and all that is like dreadful. So
Yeah, it did give me strong Forspoken story, like
almost like Shadow Warrior, sort of Shadow Warrior 3 sort of.
kind
vibes,
of,
maybe,
but like, way more serious.
yeah,
They're not playing it as a joke, but yeah, that was that.
And then the last thing, and that rounded out the show as well, and basically saved the show, was Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, they needed this, didn't they? They really needed this at the end. It was, I thought it looked really good. Shame no date, but like it's still going to come this year, isn't it? So
Yeah, they said fall. I think they're waiting to see when they can put it out. They, when everyone's had their showcases and they go, well, Starfield's coming this week, Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever Nintendo's got's coming this week. Right, we're going to put Spider-Man here or something like that.
God, you're really living that Mario Odyssey dream.
yeah, I think you
think
were setting
that-
yourself
I was
up for
I
failure
was
there,
trying to
Penguin.
think of something Nintendo could have out this year.
PlayStation DLC and PlayStation Pokemon DLC.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's a funny one because it always looks the same as the other games when you watch a trailer for it. I'm 100% confident it will be one of the best games I play when it comes out. Yeah, the story looks somewhat interesting. Like it's a sequel. It's a sequel to Miles Morales after the first game. So yeah, it looks good. Thought the trailer was a little bit long, weirdly.
Yeah, I
and
did lose interest. I was very
yeah,
surprised to find that like it was still going like for 6 minutes, and I was on my phone, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually really good. Why am I not watching this?" Like, I don't know.
yeah, and it's kind of the same as the first trailer they did for Spider-Man originally, but not the Raft. But yeah, it looks fine.
I liked how like the stuff on the ground looked really good because I've not played Miles Morales, but I obviously played the first one when I had my PlayStation 4, and like it was amazing when you were flying through the air and that, but when you were actually on the ground, it kind of like didn't look quite so good.
Yeah.
But like they had that bit at the start where it was in like the suburbs of New York.
Yeah.
It looked.
Yeah, it was in Queens.
And
Yeah, and it looked really good. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that you can tell they've like tried to expand on that, so that's kind of
yeah.
cool.
Miles is the Miles Morales game has a lot better combat because he has more powers, and obviously in that trailer you saw more powers, and obviously with the nature of Venom Spider-Man, he's going to have more powers to use basically, as opposed to gadgets, which I think was what the original game really leaned on. But yeah, this looks good. Again, no date, which is really disappointing. Yeah, it's a weird one because like it was a great game and it was the best game of the show, but because it was last and they really didn't have any surprises, you were kind of like, oh, well, that's it, is it? Oh god.
Yeah, when they said, "Oh, this is the last game," I was like, "Oh, so you knew it was going to have to be Spider-Man. They couldn't end on anything else if they hadn't already shown it. But you were expecting like the one big thing other than Spider-Man. Like,
yeah,
I was like,
the bone they usually throw the ponies. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
The bone
Yeah, I was
usually there to be
expecting
like,
that. Yeah,
God of
it's
War's
very
coming in 4
strange.
years, but they said it's today. You know what I mean? Like, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Yeah, I was shocked that we didn't see like Last of Us multiplayer, like you're saying, to like the Sony fans and stuff. And that
I think that's so far out. I really do. I think the fact that they only had like concept art when they showed it last, I think really does.
Yeah, and if you're gonna see it, you'll see another concept trailer, and it'll be at Game Awards. But like that's it, or the Summer Game, or like one of the Keighley shows. But yeah, I think overall, like we said at the start, like it just was a bit of nothing. It was really a whole show, a bit of nothing. It could have been a solid 10-minute state of play. It could have been a blog post.
They could have just done a Spider-Man state of play.
Yeah, but it's too early, isn't it? So like they will do a Spider-Man state of play, but it will be 3 months time.
August.
Yeah, like it won't be. It'll be before the game comes out. So it's like okay, but yeah, there was a couple dim spots in this where I was like, oh, that'd be fun. But like, yeah, I think overall it was arguably a waste of time.
Yeah, they didn't set up the big, like everyone's saying, the second phase of the PlayStation 5. That they didn't set that up at all, did they?
It feels more like Spider-Man 2's finishing the first phase.
Well, it's like there hasn't actually been much PlayStation for a while. Like we had God of War at the end of last year, right? It was sort of like mid-end of last year. And this year all we've had is Forspoken, which I know Pengy likes, but didn't do well when it came out, and then VR2. We haven't had anything else. Like you've got
Burning Shores, which
is DLC that was PS5 exclusive that barely know what anyone has talked about. So it's like, okay, well they haven't really put anything out. Like it's one of those, like obviously I know we don't have a huge amount of time, and we'll talk about the other showcases when we get there. But it's like it's funny to me that like other companies are getting so heavily criticized for not having any games. And then Sony does this, and you're like, they've got nothing. Like they really have got nothing. They've got Spider-Man coming at the end of the year. They've got
Helldivers 2.
And Helldivers 2. But that's no one cares. Like we care about Helldivers, but like the average game, well, we don't know enough about it to care. You know what I mean?
I guess they've got their partnerships, haven't they? They've got Final Fantasy.
You got Final Fantasy.
I'm shocked there was no like Silent Hill. There was no remake. Final Fantasy. Like I was like they needed that to kind of carry it a bit more. I think.
Yeah. Or if you're gonna have 3 or 4 new games of service to show one with gameplay. Like show the one that's most developed. Let the developer talk about what it is. Like if it's going to be Jade Raymond's game or if it's going to be Marathon, just have one of them have more time spent on it, so that we're coming out of this going, you know what, I'm really excited for Fair Games. Other than us going, which one was called what? What?
Yeah.
Because it was, what was Concord? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no need. Like, what do you gain by showing a trailer that is 10 seconds of a spaceship and then a logo? Like, what do you get? You get nothing. Like, that'd have been better to show next year or later in this year, and you have something, and then people are excited about it. Whereas instead, you're like, it's like Contraband for Xbox a couple of years ago. You're like, well, didn't show anything. Like, all we got was a name. And
Yeah, when you're making a new IP like that, you've got to kind of do more.
Because if you're not ready to show anything, then there's a good chance that it falls to the wayside. Like, I don't know, like say like Fable, and you just don't hear about it for 4 years because you've shot too early. So it's kind of like what have they got? And then if services is where they're at, then just show one and make that like the big one. Which I know what people expected that to be, factions. So it's like, like Craig said, like is that game really much further out than we think? But yeah, very strange, really strange show. No ports. I was like, well, if they had this, maybe we'll get the Last of Us Part 2 port. But yeah, none of that. And it's like, okay, well, so if you're a PlayStation owner and you don't want to play Final Fantasy, you don't have a whole lot to look forward to until the end of the year. And all it really does is, I think, sets it up for everyone else to have knockout shows. Because I know people are like, oh, no, I don't want to sort of like, but if this was flipped, if this was Xbox showing this, like people would be like, right, well, PlayStation are going to come in now in 2 weeks and absolutely wipe the floor with them. And it's like, well, Xbox will not get a better chance because that was really poor. And I think the more time goes on, I think people are going to realize how poor that actually was.
I will be very disappointed if the Xbox show is at this level or worse.
Well, you think Starfield has its own video at the end.
Yeah.
So that's the equivalent of Spider-Man, right? But it will be more in depth because it's its own show. So already, like, you're like, well, they've already going to have that. So they only need to have a couple of things. And Xbox can still screw up. They've screwed up many times before.
Oh, definitely.
So like, we're not sitting here as like Xbox fanboys, like, oh yeah, it's better. Like they could screw up. Nintendo could have nothing because they're planning for a new console. You know what I mean? Like it could be one of those years where, although the games coming out are good, the shows aren't. But that's fine. But yeah, as the first one goes, this is it's a bit of a downer, to be honest. Like there's very little I'm excited for an hour and about just over an hour I spent last night watching it.
Yeah, and it's more like knowing what's coming, like what's Ben doing, what's Bluepoint doing, what's the other Fire, what's it McCauley doing, like what's the Horizon multiplayer game like what's Sucker Punch doing, what's Cory Barlog doing, what's Neil Druckmann's game that he's directing, etc.
It's easy to say that. I think we forget how long these like AAA games take to make.
Yeah, they do take ages.
A lot of these studios that like Sony own have like put out big AAA games in the last couple of years, or done DLC, or done director's cuts. So like a lot of the projects they're working on are going to be super early. You know, there's that quote, was it like if you were to start making a AAA game now, it wouldn't release this gen, it would release next gen. Like that's how long it takes. So when people are saying like, oh, we're going to see Sucker Punch's new game, we're going to see Naughty Dog's new game, we're going to see Sony Santa Monica's new game, it's like, you probably not, because like it just takes so long. You know, like Tears of the Kingdom took 6 years and they reused the map. Like you've got to just respect the fact that these games take so long to make.
And I think that's always what we always complain about with Xbox, and we're like, well, it takes time. Like it does. Like even Redfall was in development for like 4 or 5 years. Like it wasn't just like they bought Bethesda and then Redfall came out. Like no, like you know what I mean. Like it's not as easy as that. Like, and games get delayed. Like Halo got delayed a year. Starfield's been delayed a year. Like that Starfield was in development. When did they say it's like 7 years now? Something stupid. So it's like you're right. Like they can't have stuff. But if you're not going to have stuff, don't have the show. Do a state of play. Like that's the way I look at it. Like, or if you're going to have concept trailers with names and nothing else, then have the stuff you've just started working on. If you've got to have the show and you're going to do it, like for every Concord, Fair Games, Marathon, throw in we're working on Uncharted, and that's all we're going to tell you because people will be excited about that. You know what I mean? Like, and if you can't have one or the other, either do it or don't. If you're not going to do it, then don't have the games and service games with no trailers, no gameplay. Just keep to the indies, get some deals in, like, you know what I mean? Like they've done this for years now. It's not like it's, they haven't had this showcase for 2 years. So there is an expectation that they've set. It's not like we've as fans have said it, like they've said it. Like by
Yeah,
saying
even
it's
if
a
they
showcase.
just said this was a showcase, but it's going to be mainly our third party partners.
Yeah, they come out
like, that
early
would
and go,
have set
hey,
it shut like straight
don't
away.
get overexcited. These studios games will not be there. And we'd all go in and
Yeah.
be like, oh, okay, well, I'll watch the Plucky Squires trailer and I'll be like, oh, Helldivers looks really cool. But like, you know what I mean? Like like everyone's gone in with this expectation that it's going to be E3 because E3's gone. And then it's like, oh no, there's nothing really. Like I said, they were genuinely when I rewatched it this morning, I was like, oh wow, they genuinely showed nothing. Like Spider-Man 2 gameplay and Helldivers being announced. Really was it. Like there was nothing. There was just nothing. There was just concept trailers. VR looks terrible. Like I'll be honest. If I was Chris Pengelly and I owned a PSVR 2, the quickness at which that bad boy would be on eBay would be unreal right now. Because I'm like, they've not shown me anything. Like, what was the plan for VR 2? Like, it's not even been out that long. There must have been a plan, but it doesn't seem like there's a plan at the minute. So it's like, oh,
Nah.
unless I want to play another first-person
Five
shooter.
Nights
Where
another
you shoot
Five
zombies.
Nights at Freddy's.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, cool, like, well, I finished Horizon, I finished Moss, like, that's bye-bye, let's get this gone. If I want to buy it again, I'll buy it in 2 years. Like, that's how I see that. And then you think, well, they're announcing this, like, half announcing this handheld. And you're like, whoa. Again, either don't show it or show all of it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just frustrating, I think. But that is the PlayStation Showcase for May 24th. So we won't have to talk about PlayStation for a little while, Craig. I know that makes you happy. And we move on to the next big showcase. I think there's some little ones, but I think the next big one is the Xbox Showcase, Pengy, unless you're about to correct me.
I think Summer Game Fest might be before the Xbox.
Okay, and that's the Keighley show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the E3 show. So that'd probably be worth us talking about. Prediction-wise, I don't even know, but like we'll definitely talk about it. But yes, let us know if you've got this far. Obviously, thank you very much. Comment as always, but let us know what you think of the PlayStation Showcase. If we're being too harsh or if we're being too generous, and we will see you for a full episode of the show next time.
Bye.